that little baby that's lying in the cot is already doing certain things that is telling you a left brain and right brain. Why would some kids climb out of the cot and fall themselves to pieces on the other side, and the others are quite happy lying there, comfortable in that space?
Hi there and welcome to this video. I've got with me Bertie Leroux, and in this video we're going to talk about unrealistic expectations. Bertie, recently you partnered and collaborated with other authors and you wrote a chapter in a book called No Problem Parenting, and you wrote on a specific topic called unrealistic expectations. So why was that something that you contributed to a book on parenting?
Thanks for asking. Yes, you know, my experience as a whole brain practitioner and just as a coach and a mentor brought me to the realization that a lot of people is challenged with unrealistic expectations. Because we go through life visioning other people's successes and visioning other people's looks and whatever the case may be. And then we internalize it and we say to ourselves, I'm not good enough. And that's wrong, because where we come from is that unrealistic expectations. And in our children, it often happens that parents live their lives through their children in terms of the unachieved goals that they had for themselves, for whatever the reason may be. So when I was invited to co-author this book, we were 23 writers, each done a chapter, and the book is actually doing very well. No problem parenting. And each chapter is about assisting parents, helping their children to become what they are capable of. And in my case, incidentally, the last chapter in the book is about unrealistic expectations. As I say, really addressing that expectations from parents. Because when we think of brain profiling, left and right brain, then we must understand that our child is born unique, and he could be completely different from you, the husband or the wife, and the siblings, his brothers and sisters. So if you think that you can manage, as in an organization, everybody the same way, even teachers today understand the concept of that kids in the classroom are different. And that is my point of departure of the unrealistic expectations. And I'm quite passionate about it.
So Bertie, the obvious question for me is, do you, when you have unrealistic expectations of your child, are you setting them up for failure?
You could, because what happens if little Mary, by your definition, should become a ballerina? She might not like it at all. She's somebody that wants to be outside. She's a child that wants to be up in the trees and run around and do athletics and games. So you are forcing her because you enjoyed ballet and you think ballet is great. So you can either make a success if she has that ability and buy into the pressures you put onto her, or you can pressurize her the other way out. She'll never try to be a ballerina. And that in itself will then tell her, you're not good enough. Therefore, be a failure at ballet. But she should never have taken the stage as a ballerina. And I mean, you use this, and we use this example, and I always said, when you look at a ballet and you look at the prima ballerina and the rest, you will understand when you apply movement pattern analysis, in other words, what's the flow? You can actually look at little Mary and understand what her body makeup is all about. Because a prima ballerina is somebody that can go into a movement, and it's as if she never stops. She moves from the one to the other. And then you look at the other ballerinas, they're excellent. But you can clearly see where they start and where they stop. Now, that's perfection. Now, if Mary just wanted to do ballet because she came to you because her friends are doing ballet, that's fine. She doesn't have a career in mind. But we as parents are forcing our kids in a direction maybe that they don't enjoy. If they are totally different brain profile to you, you will get a response. And you will take that response as negative, unsupportive, not appreciating what you're doing for them, and it leads to a lot of conflict and failure in the mind. Because remember, we must understand, and that's what no problem parenting is also all about. What we instill on our kids' minds go to their subconscious mind. Because remember, when they are born, they know nothing. They start everything from fresh and from new. And they store those experiences, those feelings, those emotions that's linked to certain things, situations. They store it in here. And it can come back to them when they're 20, when they're 30, when they're 60. We are responsible for molding our kids' future success by what we say and what we do. And the first thing there is understand the uniqueness of the individual and understand the concept of unrealistic expectations.
Bertie, with brain profiling, you're able to get to know a person better, but you're also able to place them in the right place, correct?
Correct.
Now, let's use the example of where they say if you have a fish out of water, a fish on land is not going to perform very well, right? And also then if you have an animal like a cheetah and you put the cheetah in the water, it's not going to work well. Do you think if you put a person in the right environment, everybody can be at a high level, or are you going to have people at different levels, irregardless of where they are?
No. Deep down in your makeup, your thinking preference is what you're born with, your preference. And as you grow older, you can understand the principle, and we will talk about unrealistic expectations just now in another video, where we look at the approaches of management and leadership towards teams, and then also of the individual, because we also put ourselves under pressure in terms of unrealistic expectations. But to link to what you're saying, it is critically important that I do what I love doing, because then I'll be good at it, because I'll spend my time there. Because when you do something that you love, it energizes. If you don't, it saps your energy. So you must understand that, and if you realize that I don't like what I'm doing, you must spend some time in front of the mirror and ask yourself, honestly and sincerely, am I at the right place? Because you deserve to find your sweet spot and what you're good at. And you're relating to the, if you teach a fish to climb a tree, it will never be successful. Okay, so we must understand that. And when we talk about kids, as you teach them and develop them, like I say, at school, at home, if you understand the difference, and I always use the example of Johnny and Mary, where the parents will say, Mary, can't you go outside? Just go and play outside. You're under my feet. I want to clean the house or whatever. Just go outside and do what Johnny's doing. An hour later, the same thing happens, and you're telling Johnny, get in the house, get behind your desk, come and study. Look at Mary. How much time she's spending behind a desk. I mean, that's why she's doing so good at schoolwork. Same two kids. And you're treating them differently because situational, you want them to be the same. Little Mary, she's comfortable around the house, inside the house, and with her mother. And if maybe, for example, if she studies, she would prefer to be at the kitchen table where the noise is with her mother, because she needs that warmth and understanding. But she is effectively studying. And little Johnny might be completely different to that, how they learn. So you must understand they're different. The one is going to be happy behind his desk. The other one detests that desk, might be lying on the floor, on the bed, all over in front of the TV. Measure them by their achievements, because they get to the same result in a different way. If I may, I just use another example in terms of unrealistic expectations. Little Mary is extremely neat. Everything is in place. If you go into a bedroom, the bed is neat. There's nothing lying around. The desk is neat. The pencils, the papers, and everything. Her soft toys is neatly stacked on shelves and whatever. It's perfect. Johnny, a volcano. It's just a tornado in his room. And everybody hates Johnny's move, and they want to tidy it all the time. Johnny is comfortable there. That make him feel relaxed and be himself. Mary in her space, exactly the same. If Johnny goes to Mary, and that's what I highlight in the book, if Johnny goes to Mary's room, he's totally uncomfortable, and the only way he's going to feel a little bit at home is to create an element of chaos. So he knocks the soft toys around, or just do something where things are just out of order. What happens? Mary's in tears, it's crazy, and Johnny get hiding or get chased out of his room because he's naughty again. Understand, that's how he thinks. He would love to spend some time with Mary. But when they need to meet each other somewhere, and they may be still too young. So in order to be able for Mary to get Johnny in his room, in her room, she must understand, accept Johnny's little bit of chaos. And when she goes to his room, please don't tidy it up. Because just now he's looking for something that he knows exactly where it is, and it might be under the pillow or under the bed. So if you tidy his room, you create chaos in his mind because he can't find the stuff that he put there. So if you don't like that room, just close the door. Just close the door. That's Johnny's sacrosanct area and Mary's sacrosanct area. And that's how we as parents was manage them. But we want them to be neat because that's a good thing. To Johnny, he's extremely neat. He just liked the chaos.
But finally, I've noticed people that are at the absolute top of their field are people that started doing what they're doing today when they were kids. They've been doing that consistently and disciplined to practice their craft every day. Do you think it's important for parents to find out as soon as possible what the kid's purpose is or what they're passionate about, so that they can be busy with that? Obviously can do a lot of things from an early age.
Ivan, it's so important. And you can actually formally do their brain profile at the age of 7.
Okay.
Just to understand whether they're left brain or right brain. But if you just read some of Cobus Neething's material, books of it, you will easily understand and see it yourself because you know them from birth. That little baby that's lying in the cot is already doing certain things that is telling you a left brain or right brain. Why would some kids climb out of the cot and fall themselves to pieces on the other side, and the others are quite happy lying there, comfortable in that space? Already the makeup is different. So what you're alluding to, it's so important. The sooner we can get that and understand that, because then you write the right button, because there's ways of means of getting an end result. We don't need to follow the same road. Maybe we're going to take the scenic route, even though it takes a little longer. So we must understand that. So we must give little Johnny in his scenic route passion about that. Give him more time to get to where you want to go. And maybe little Mary that just follow the shortest route. Just give them that space and give them the time, because that's how they grow and that's how they develop. They want to grow and develop this person, this unique individual. And that is my first responsibility as me. But I'm not wise enough. I'm not, really there to understand it. So the parents are guiding me and helping me. So you must understand that. So expose your children, but with an open mind. If they don't like it, it's not because they hate this or hate that, because they're just being difficult. They're just not comfortable there. And if you're not comfortable there, it's not nice. Good Afrikaans word, it's not lekker. Okay? So we want to do that. And the moment, as I say, it energizes you. I can just go on and on doing what I love. I love being here. I love talking to you. I can do it 24/7. I'm passionate about it. And that's all what you want to create. And we will talk later in some other video clips, and you've probably listened to some of mine, where we talk about passion plus purpose equals prosperity. And prosperity by definition is actually being successful. But you need the passion. And the passion is doing what I love doing. And the purpose is a defined end state. that I set for myself, where I can say, done well.
Cool. This book that you mentioned, No Problem Parenting, where can people get it?
You can get it online, on Amazon, for example, and you can even go on my website. You'll find it there, and I would strongly recommend, if you're a parent, to do that. There's a follow-up book that's coming through. So it is. As I say, it's doing extremely well outside there in the marketplace. It's international authors, and it's an international book placed out there.
Finally, do you have a question for our audience?
My question to you is, have you experienced that little conflict in Mary and Johnny, which you can relate to your unrealistic expectations? And if so, understand your responsibility and how you can make highly successful kids by just getting them to understand, and you understand which buttons to press. Good luck.